All right, tonight we're going to learn about dividing fractions and mixed numbers. Actually, this is something that we've already been learning quite a bit. Usually we've seen things in class like, well, 5 over 9 divided by 5 over 6. And whenever we've seen a fraction in a fraction, we realize that it's a complex fraction, and that would require us to use KFC. And for those that you have learned it, KCF, that's fine too. Whichever one you want to remember, as long as we know that K stands for keep, F stands for flip, and C stands for change. The reason we want to remember those is because we're going to keep the top number, top fraction the same. We're going to flip the second fraction upside down, and then we're going to change division into multiplication. As you can see, I just took this number, this fraction here, and put it under here like we were used to seeing it in class, because I told you we're going to start steering away from putting that division sign there. We're going into higher order math. So that division sign after a while is no longer going to be there. You're going to see divided by represented by a fraction. So let's try that. I'll erase this here just so we can apply it in the form that it's in. I would change this then. I'm going to keep the first number the same, 5 over 9. I'm going to flip the second number, turn it into 6 over 5. And then I'm going to change division to multiplication. And now I've used my KFC. Multiplication is so much easier because all I do now is multiply across. Before I multiply across, I see if there's anything that I can go ahead and divide out using the butterfly method. I would get the same answer either way, so I'm going to demonstrate it both ways here. 5 times 6, if I just multiplied it out, would give me 30. And 9 times 5 would give me 45. If I was to go ahead and reduce this, I would see that 15 goes into both of these. And so my final answer would be 2 over 3. Now, if I use the butterfly method, okay, let's just rewrite this problem down here using a different method. I had 5 over 9 times 6 over 5. The butterfly method allows me to go ahead and eliminate a lot of my work later. Watch. I see that I have 5 across, so I'm allowed to slash the 5s out because both of them are divisible by 5. 5 divisible by 5 is 1. So I would have 1 now there instead of 5. 9 and 6 are both divisible by 3. So 6 divided by 3 would give me 2. And 9 divided by 3 would give me 3. All right, now I have 1 times 2, and that's going to equal 2. And I've got 3 times 1, and that's going to give me 3. And do we see how we got the same exact answer? All right, we're going to move a little quicker now. For the others, I won't show both techniques. I will use the butterfly method when I can. Let's go to number 17. Now we see we have a mixed number that we are dividing with a fraction. And all we have to do first is change that into a improper fraction. So we're going to say 5 times 5. That's going to be 25. 25 plus 1 is going to give me 26. For those that didn't catch that, I'll say it again. 5 times 5, our numerator, times our whole number, or our denominator times our whole number, and then we'll add our numerator. So 5 times 5 is 25, plus 1 will give us 26. Okay? So this turns into negative, because we have a negative sign in front, negative 26 over 5. And now let's remember, we're using our KFC. We kept the first number the same, but we changed it into an improper fraction. Now we're going to take our second number and flip it. So we're going to take this one and make it into 3 over 2. And we're changing our division sign to multiplication. And here we go. Does 3 and 5 go into any similar numbers? No. But does 26 and 2? Yes. Both of them are divisible by 2. So I can divide 2 by 2 and get 1. And I can divide 26 by 2, or negative 26 by 2, and I can get negative 13. And now I have negative 13 times 3. Well, negative 13 times 3 is going to give me negative 39. And 5 times 1 will give me 5. I have to ask myself, how many times does 5 go into 39? Because remember, every fraction is really a division problem. So let's work that out over here. If I take 39 and divide it by 5, I see 5 goes into 39. Well, I know 5 times 7 is 35. And I have a remainder of 4. This tells me that negative 39 over 5 equals negative 7 and 4 fifths. Everyone see where our numbers are coming from? 7 comes from here. Our answer was negative, so we put a negative sign. 7 comes from here. Our 4 is our remainder. And our 5 is going to be our denominator. All right, and that is the answer for 17. Let's go to question 19. William has 8 1/4 cup of fruit juice. If he divides the juice into 3/4 cup serving, how many servings will he have? Well, divides is our key word here. So basically our problem is 8 1/4 divided by 3/4. Once again, we see that we have a mixed number. We're going to have to turn it into an improper fraction first. So we have 4 times 8, that's 32. 32 plus 1, make 33. Now I have 33 over 4. And I will keep my first number the same because remember we're using KFC. Keep, flip, and change. And for those of you that learned it, keep, change, and flip, good for you. Use it your way. We're going to flip our second number, which would make it 4 over 3. And we're going to change division into multiplication. We've got 33 and 3. Both are divisible by 3, so I'll take 3 divided by 3 and make it 1. I'll make 33 divided by 3 and make it 11. Now I see 4 on each side, and 4 and 4 are both divisible by 4. And 4 divided by 4 is 1. And here I go. I've got 11 times 1, which is 11. And I have 1 times 1, which is 1. I know that any number over 1 equals itself, so my answer is 11. How many servings will he have? 11 servings. And we're done with number 19. Let's go to number 21. Find 1 2/3 divided by 9 divided by 1 1/9 divided by 3, and write it in simplest form. Well, we've been doing stuff like this in class, so this shouldn't scare us anymore. But again, we're using KFC. What we have to remember is we have division problems here in division problems. Every fraction is really a division problem. So our first division problem is going to be right here, and I'm going to highlight it for you. Our second division problem is going to be right here. So let's work our first one first. The first one is, again, we have 1 2/3, right? So we'd have to turn that into an improper fraction. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 plus 2 is 5. So our first one is simply 5. Let's see, over 3. Remember, our bottom one now is what we're dividing by, but 9 can be represented as a fraction by putting 1 underneath it. So now when I flip it, it becomes 1 over 9. I'm changing my division sign to multiplication. So in working this first part here, I have 5 times 1. Well, that's going to equal 5. And I have 3 times 9. And that's going to equal 27. And that's our first fraction. Okay? Now, our second fraction, right here, will work individually. We see that we have, again, an improper or a proper fraction. We have to turn into an improper fraction. 9 times 1 is 9, and 9 plus 1 is 10. So our first number will be 10 over 9. We're going to flip the bottom number, and again, we see a whole number. So we'll simply remember that any whole number over 1 equals itself. So we change 3 over 1 to 1 over 3. Remember, we flip the second number. And now we change our division sign to multiplication. 10 times 1, again, I've already seen that I can't divide these into each other. 10 times 1 is 10. And 9 times 3 is 27. All right, here we go. We have our new problem. Because our division sign is there, our new problem is 5 over 27 divided by 10 over 27. And look at that. We've got another division problem, don't we? We already know what to do. We're going to use KFC one more time. We're going to keep the first fraction the same, so that's going to turn into 5 over 27. We're going to change the second one, or we're going to flip the second one, so it's going to be 27 over 10. And now we're going to multiply instead of divide. Now we can see here that we can use our butterfly method to reduce. Well, 27's on each side, so I can cross it out because both of them are divisible by 27. And that turns each of them into 1. 5 and 10 are both divisible by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1, and 10 divided by 5 is 2. And now I've got much simpler numbers to multiply. 1 times 1 is 1. And 1 times 2 is 2. Our answer is 1/2 in simplest form. Number 22 is for you to do, so I'm not going to work it. I think it's pretty easy. I'm going to explain it even though I won't be working it. It says write the letter of each statement below in the section of any operation to which the statement applies. Well, when you use a common denominator, okay, where would you put A? In addition, multiplication, subtraction, or division. When you multiply by the multiplicative inverse, remember that's the opposite. Which one would you use? And when you write the result in simplest form, okay, which operation of rational numbers would you use? All right, go ahead and work those out, and I will go ahead and get with you in class.